ref. That's he got the ball. Good afternoon, Spurs fans worldwide, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur for Match Day Live as we head into yet another London derby, and bragging rights is on offer today, and hopefully a chance for us to re-kickstart our season. No better way to then get one over our enemies, but I'm not naive to know today's going to be a tough game, and the fallout could be even tougher. So plenty to speak about today. Jacko, nice and early, rise and shine for you for this London derby, my man. How are you keeping?
Doing okay, Dave. Waking up early to meet my maker, to see what we're made of, to see what everybody's made of as a fan base. And ready for probably the toughest part of the roller coaster that we've had in some time, Dave. I'm clenching my core. I'm clenching my shoulders. I'm, getting ready to strap in, getting the seatbelt ready. So, yeah, that's what we're about to talk about.
No, 100%. And look, I understand both sides of the argument today. Some are coming in with optimism. They're like, Big 16, we beat them this year. And some are coming in fearing the worst. So I no doubt what side Dermot falls on, but we'll get into that. But Dermot, how are you, my man?
I'm fine, Dave. I'm always a pleasure and an honor to come onto this channel. I always pinch myself that I'm here with two legends of YouTube, and it really is a privilege to be here. Look, you know how I feel. We're going to win today. We're going to smash them. Chelsea, who are Chelsea? They're fucking crap. And in Ange we trust. I don't care if somebody slags me off. I'm behind Ange all the way. He came out of his press conference like Mike Tyson, like a Conor Ben, or like a Chris Eubank, swinging them arms, getting ready to fight the opposition. And that's what we're going to do. Let's follow Ange. Let's follow him into war. We're going to beat Chelsea today. Come on, boys. Let's give us some hope.
And fair play to him. He did come out swinging. And what? I have seen some opinions, and some people, that I know have gone, do you know what, Dave? I like that press conference. I'm back behind them. I'm going to give them a bit more time. But then, on my side of thinking, I've heard other people say this. Usually when you come out and say, I'm going to fight, it sort of is the beginning of the end. But it's a press conference nonetheless that we have to get into, because from Postecoglou's point, he did put out something out there where he said, from my understanding, everything we're doing here is long-term because they want me here long-term, basically, in essence. So, from his understanding, I don't think he thinks he's under pressure. Drew, how are you, my man? How are you keeping?
Oh, not doing too bad, mate. Not looking forward to today. I hate Chelsea, arguably more than I hate anybody else. So we shall see, man. We shall see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've got bed hair. Jack's got bed hair. I don't know what's going on.
Well, look, first of all, I do want to say everyone appreciate Drew and Jack. They're getting up at all hours to be able to do this today, the commitment for the big derby today. So everyone and anyone else that's tuning in, that's on that side of the pond, America, over there across in Asia, Australia, fair play to you for getting up at all hours to be able to get pumped up for this game. But look, it is the annual Chelsea Flower Show. I absolutely cannot wait. Hopefully we turn them into a bunch of dandelions today. That'll be absolutely brilliant. But look, let's give everybody everything they need to know, and then let's get into the chat and see who's with us from across the world today. Of course, we are playing at the greatest purpose-built Coliseum for football. Well, actually, it's not just for football, but I like to think it is. That is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but you can go-karting, NFL, concerts, boxing, you name it. It's your multi-purpose venue. Kickoff is at 4:30 p.m. Referee is Anthony Taylor, and Chelsea fans are up in arms over this one because he's the guy that refused to send off Romero for that hair pull. So he's like me. He doesn't like ridiculous hair. So fair play, Anthony Taylor. And then, of course, in the VAR room is Jared Gillet. And interestingly enough, he's also Australian, so hopefully he's been wheeled in to give Postecoglou, a bit of helping hand to get over the line here today. Then if you do want to watch the big London derby today, you can watch it on Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland. In the USA, you can watch it on NBC Sports. And in Australia, it is on Optus Sports. Heading into team news for today, Van de Ven out with the hamstring, Udebur out with the hamstring, Richarlison out with a hamstring. And yes, that is right, Ben Davies also reportedly out with a hamstring now as well. Mikey Moore still out, Bentancur and Vicario. Still doubts about whether Romero is fit or not for today's game, something we'll get into in a little while. And then for Chelsea, of course, James out, Fofana out, and Mudryk out. So that's everything you need to know Heading into the game, guys, let's get into the chat, take some comments, and then let's kick on for some great discussion, hopefully. We are Spurs TV. Great to see you. Let's get to Tottenham. Shem Tam says, afternoon, Dave. Sleeping Jack and panel. Funny how we have been crap ever since Ange said he doesn't care about boring 1-0 only entertaining fans. We haven't entertained anyone since. Well, look, Thursday night certainly wasn't entertaining. Shem Tam. Big up, DJ Samuel. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you in the building, DJ. Hope you're keeping well, my man. We also have Matt Byram in the house. He says, big up, Big Dave and Jack going to watch the game, but dreading to also what Spurs are we going to see today? I mean, look, Matt, that's the big question, right? You know, against the not so-called weaker teams. Can't really call them that anymore when they beat us. But, you know, teams that are maybe a lot more structurally well-organized defensively, we struggle against. Teams that show us no respect, we sort of play well against. So it's really hard to know, to be quite frank. But when you look at it, I think it's, one win in our last 6 games. It's going to be a tough ask today, my man. Gabrielle, big up Irish and Jack. Here we are again. I must be a glutton for punishment. Come on, you Spurs. I think we all have that in common, to be quite frank. Da M says, Anjin, at least 1 more year. Look, more than entitled to your opinions. A straight afternoon. This shows the contrast in the Spurs family. What's the statue? Will the statue and survive today? Well, look, we'll have a bit of a conversation about that at some point, I'm sure. Ben Cap, everyone today could be absolutely miserable. Are you going to the game, Ben, or did you choose, to sit this one out? Let me know. Man. Good to see you in the house. We've got Red Moon in the house. Big up, Red Moon. Who else have we got here? Jimmy Hotspur. Big up, guys in chat. Good afternoon. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Jimmy. Great to see you in the house, my man. We also have Donovan Oosterreicher. 30 Donning. Absolutely. Good to see you. Do you have a match today? I think you do. Let me know how you're getting on. We have Dark Hero 84. What a name. We'll lose 4-0. Good to see you, my man. Hope you keep him well. We also have Joe Blogs in the house. Will be a cracking game, one way or the other. I hope so. Hopefully it goes our way today. Spurs TV says I'm dreading this game and a big possible planking. It would be sweet to win, but my realistic side is so I think you're not a Spurs fan if you're not nervous heading into this one. Limpy Down Under says I'm here to cope all the flack for supporting Ange, but I am ready. Great, my man. Adam Jones, I think we will get hammered and Ange will get sacked. Hashtag Ange out. Hashtag Levy out. Look, let's wait and see what happens, my man. It could be the case or we could win today. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Jack Bloom 2024. Hey, Spurs fans. Good to see you, Jack. Hopefully you're keeping well. James Spurs fan says Ange out. We also have Slynell 1 Palmer. He's going to bend us over today. He's a really good player, Palmer. Really, really good player. I'm worried about him today. We also have Lisa Owenhouse. Good morning, gentlemen. Big up the panel. Great to see you, Lisa. Derek Hutchinson is with us. Big up Dave, Jack, Dermot, Drew. Who are we getting today? Jackal or Hyde? Come on, you Spurs. Hyde or probably Bonnie and Clyde if we don't turn up today. Let's wait and see, my man. We've got Kevin Ferguson. We should be more upset if the boys get up for it today. Look, if they're up for it today, let's wait and see. You know, they haven't been up for some of the games in recent times. I'm well behind the chat, so I might just have to do this a bit quicker. Big up Shoshi in the house. Great to see you, as always. William McKenzie, great to see you. Hopefully Romero is back and focused. We have to have a massive conversation about centre-back today, William. Paul 123, how many managers don't look at how the opposition play and just play the same way, whoever the opposition is? Does he ever have a drawing board? Look, I would say there is an element to us working on tactics behind the scenes and stuff like that, you know, to be fair. Surely he does something. Let's wait and see. We also have Phil Coyce in the house. Great to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. With Brian Peacock, get your excuses at the ready, lads. Bring in the clowns who here doesn't see us conceding 1 or 2 goals today. Exactly. Dead man walking. Look, he could be. Let's wait and see what happens. We got Flat Cat Pete in the house. Would like a win, but to be honest, think we get tanked 5-1. So Spurs fans not too confident at all today is what I'm sort of generally taking here. Cheers, guys. Are we feeling confident today? Answer your question, Andy. No, not too confident. It doesn't seem like that. Ben Kaufman, fair play to you, lad. Fair play. He is going. Big up Daddy Biffy. Big up Alberto. Big up Rob as well. Kulu, sexy football. Great to see you. We've got Lily White India. Big up panel. Slightly worried about the atmosphere tonight. Hope the fans back our boys and direct anger towards the Leech. Levy, look, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of anger directed to him at some point today, especially if we don't, get a good performance or a good result. Because as much as people blame Ange, I think there's also a recognition that the summer transfer window was nowhere near good enough as well. So I'm sure he'll get his fair share. Big up, Brecken. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Danny Darko in the house. Good to see you, sir. Mr. Edwardson, Carl Higgins as well. Great to see you. And then we have the Croat Goat as well. Absolute legend. Then we've got Wembley 1 in the house. Good to see you, man. Really appreciate the support. This afternoon, boys, we must break the game up as much as possible. Look to make constant stoppages in play. Cannot let Chelsea pick up any rhythm or flow. Look, I would like to see us get right at them, mix it up with them. There's still a young enough team out there, try and maybe get one of them to lose the head in this derby game. I think sitting off them, will only cause us problems. We don't do well when we sit off teams. We just allow them to put balls on the box. And if you give the likes of Cole Palmer, people like that space, they're going to absolutely punish you. So for me, get right up in their face, make it a nitty-gritty derby, a bit like what we've done to Man City. Get up there, turn the ball over, and then look to hit them very, very quickly on the counter. None of this slowing it down bollocks, horseshoe football, nice and direct. I definitely agree with that, Wembley. Jack, anything you want to say to Wembley?
Sounds like Wembley's trying to promote some shithousery ahead of this game. Some time wasting, some tripping, some pushing around, all that sort of stuff. Maybe some sideline antics, the moment the ball goes out of play, pretend you don't know where it is, that type of thing. So I don't blame Wembley for going that direction, especially against this Chelsea team. We're already very nervous and very scared, so we probably do want the ball in play as little as possible. So I don't blame Wembley for this. At the same time, though, sadly not the way we play Wembley. We are a team that actually would rather be in a rhythm ourselves. We would rather be the team in flow. We would rather be the team that's kind of sparking moves one after another and keeping the ball in play and basically just taking the game to the opposition. So strap yourself in, man. As much as I agree, I think Dave knows I agree. I'm very much into the tactical time wasting and in the shithousery and that sort of stuff. But I'm not too sure if that's the way that we play right now.
And it's very important that we don't concede first. I think we've conceded, 12 of our, or 14 of our last 16 home games or something like that first. So very important you do not give Chelsea any momentum. And with us, with our injury crisis, I think if we concede first, you could see the other night, our heads are going down, they're dropping, and they don't really have the belief that they're going to pull it back. So it's important we stay in this game for as long as we can and not concede the first goal Wembley won, especially in a London derby. We've got El Child Cockerell afternoon. This is my most important game of the season for personal reasons. Look, I think many people feel the same, Jose. They all have their own personal gripes with Chelsea and their fan base and stuff like that. It's an absolute massive game today. There's going to be no love lost in this. Both sets of fans absolutely detest each other. So it's going to be a proper out-and-out derby. Big up, El Tel. Good to see you and people get over and check out his channel. We've got Dark Sun G21. Come on, you Spurs. Let's win today with a Werner goal for memes. Jack, think Werner will think he's in for a starting position today or off the bench against Chelsea? And because it's a difficult one, right? Because he did used to play against them, and players are motivated to play against their former teams.
No, and you could argue that that's where it all went wrong for Timo Werner as well, Dark Sun G. It felt like he was cursed or he saw some witch doctor or something before he had gone to Chelsea, because that player that he was at Leipzig was a special player. He's one of the top scorers around Europe. He was a very dangerous player that when he was played in behind, he usually would put away those chances. And now we're looking at a very different Timo Weenie, and it'd be nice to see if he has any sort of, hate left for this Chelsea team, or if he has something that he wants to stick by them. And I wouldn't put it past him to be a late minute impact sub of any kind. Game's still in the balance. He does bring something. He brings pace. He looks to try to create something happen. As much as he's a guy that wastes chances, he's always full of confidence. He's always willing to try to have another go and have another opportunity. So I wouldn't put it past him, Dark Sun G. It seems like that's something in the script. And with this type of game with Chelsea, feels like anything's in the cards with the script.
Imagine the 30-yard rocket. Like, you never knew.
30-yard rocket. I'm
Usually
looking for a pace merchant in behind.
And then he also follows up and says, hope we at least get a draw today so we can tease the Blues. And look, we'll throw this one down to you, Dermot and Drew. Is a draw good enough today? Or does it sort of alleviate the tension, or does it just keep it building? One of you can go first, and then the other one can follow up.
No,
Go on,
the
Dan.
draw's not good enough today. It has to be a win at all costs. A draw doesn't help anyone. A draw just covers over the cracks. It just papers over the bad mistakes. We need a win today to give us a boost, to give us a morale lifting, boost for the big games that are coming up. They're coming thick and fast. We've got Rangers on Thursday. We've got a game next Sunday, then a game again next Thursday. So we need the win. And we need the win to get up that league as well. So, no, for me, it has to be a win at all costs.
Is that harsh, Drew? Because some people would say, look, with the injury crisis that we've got going on, it's further done by Ben Davies going in today with one fit centre back. That, many people might actually go, do you know what? If you offer me a draw now, I'll take it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, both of those things can be true, right? Like, I think ideally it's still a must win, like, especially when you take into consideration where Chelsea are. Like, if you'd have told me a year ago we'd be in this position at Chelsea would be sitting second in the table, I'd have laughed at you and said that's not possible. And yet here we are. So yeah, I think it is. But like you just said, given our injury problems and given the fact that he's not been able to really rotate the last 2 or 3 games, and we're probably running on, I don't want to say empty, but I'm going to guess that 4 or 5 of those players out there are probably only on 78% stamina. You know what I mean? So this is one of those times in Football Manager where you look at your bench and you see you can rotate in as early as possible. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think, yeah, it really is a must win, but given the circumstances, to be honest with you, if I'm prepared for anything at the moment, like I'm literally at the point where I just need to get through the season. I just want to get
Do you know what? And we're at this stage every year, come November, December, come the dark winter periods when you just want Tottenham to give you some light through it. They always compile on it. But do you know what? Look, just a bit of balance around that. Obviously, heading into the game, being at London Derby, everybody wants to win, and you should always go in with that mindset to win. But if we come out with a draw at the end of the day, in hindsight, look back on it, we're a squad that's very fatigued right now because we've had to overuse a lot of players that would make impact in these games injured, and it wouldn't be the worst result to move forward into the Rangers game with. But big up Dark Song G, my man. Really appreciate support. And then I just want to quickly welcome in these 3 or 4 gentlemen. We've got Iceman in the house. Great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says he can see a big scoreline today. Let's wait and see. Definitely a big scoreline last year, wasn't it? Big up Belgian Hotspur. Big up Jerry. Good to see you. And hopefully you and the family are enjoying yourselves. First time him and the family and the mum and that have been together for quite some time. So have a great time, Yuri.
Big up,
We've also got the Big D. What's up, Dave, Jack, panel and chat. Chelsea are slightly behind Arsenal as the clubs I despise, but for unfortunate reasons, we always have injuries and weak squad when we play them. Hope we turn up today. Look, we all hope we turn up today. The Big D, my man. It's a big ask of judging off what we've seen in recent weeks. Let's wait and see. And then we've got MS as well. We are down to bare basics with most senior players out. We only have the junior pack left. And made a mistake coming to us. We are a commercial business, not a football place. Absolute fair comment to make. Good to see you in the house. But look, guys, let's keep it moving. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Dermot, we'll start with you on this one. Like we all know, today is a real, true rivalry. There's no love lost between both sides. How crucial is it for everyone to forget recent results, support the team from the very first minute, and help create a really electrifying atmosphere, especially at the stadium? Because you look around on people that go to the stadium and they're making their vlogs and, or they're on shows and all. They're all complaining about the atmosphere. They're all saying it's dead. And look, it's obviously because of the times we're in where we're inconsistent, for performances are frustrating, etc. Rightly so. But how important for a rivalry is you just park that today and get behind it from minute 1 to minute 90. After, make all the noise you want and stuff. But forward, while that game's going on, we got to be united, right?
I think we have to. I think it's so important. People seem to forget that the crowd can play an important part in the game when we're down, when we're not playing well, when we feel a bit low. The crowd can bring us back again. The crowd have a job to do to back them players, and it is important. Yeah, the atmosphere at the new stadium hasn't been great. And I was only talking to you last night about that, Dave, on you and Jack, about I miss White Hart Lane because the atmosphere in there was such an electric place. And I understand we had to build a new stadium, and I understand to move on we had to, but it hasn't brought over the atmosphere or the intensity of what it is to play at White Hart Lane. Teams used to come and it used to scare them because it was an old type stadium. It was on top of you, and the atmosphere used to go round the stadium. And I feel with all the inconsistency, I feel with the team not playing well, I just feel people are going there and thinking, feel a bit down, and it reflects through the atmosphere. They can do all they want. I'm glad they're trying to bring in these singers, and then the fella with the doing at the start of the game and then singing section. But yeah, the crowd have to get behind the team today. It's so important. They call us a 12th man, and that's what we have to be. not just for today, but for every game. But you know, I can understand why it's been a bit low because we have been inconsistent. So I do get that, but we have to get behind the team today.
No, 100%. I definitely agree with that. And MS, look, our fans are supportive. I've always made a point in that. But, you know, I speak to a lot of match day going fans, and they're all saying that the atmosphere is flat, you know, this, that, and the other. So I do think it's important, despite what's gone on, you know, after the Bournemouth game between Ange and fans, despite, you know, our frustrations with Tottenham Hotspur on the board and stuff like that. I think for a rivalry, you just got to get behind the team today, try and create an electrifying atmosphere. Last thing we want is for it to be flat and Chelsea rock up feeling confident, feeling nice, feeling good, and then absolutely slap us. Last thing anybody wants, whether you're Ange in, Ange out, board in, board out, nobody wants to lose to Chelsea. That's the common denominator. So hopefully, you know, they can stand up and get the result today. Jack, on to you, my man. Chelsea are currently on a 7-match unbeaten streak across all competitions, having won their last 4 matches in a row. They lead the Premier League in goals scored, 31 goals in 14 games, and they sit in second place. That might have changed after, you know, some of the results yesterday. But in contrast, Tottenham have only won 1 of our last 6 matches, keeping just 1 clean sheet or 2 clean sheets this season. We've also conceded the opening goal in 13 of our last 16 home games. Do you think Spurs can break Chelsea's momentum today, or is their form too strong to overcome given our form and our injury crisis?
With what I've seen from Spurs this year, I mean, we are capable of anything. We are capable of beating this Chelsea team with no momentum, no like hope, no confidence at all. We could still beat them 5-0. We're just such a basket case of a team. I still don't even understand like whether we are, you know, are we the Crystal Palace, you know, Ipswich Town version of Spurs more often, or are we the Man City version of Spurs more often? I just can't really tell. It seems very 50-50 at the moment. So to be honest, Dave, I think we are still very capable of tripping up Chelsea here. Even just the game in general, the way that it's kind of set up, the way that it's poised, you could see it going very much against the narrative. Everybody that's a Spurs fan thinks that we're going to get a walloping. I don't necessarily blame them for that. But the way that the Spurs team has been, I mean, come on, like during Ange, every time it felt like that, you know, there was maybe murmurings of pressure or maybe just murmurings of like, come on, like this surely isn't sustainable. He has, I'll be honest, picked up some wins, you know, at times when you really did not expect to. And then we've actually, you know, dropped points or ended up losing games that we also really didn't expect to. And so if you were to follow the curve, if you were to follow the narrative of this Spurs team, they actually do probably beat this Chelsea side and then end up slipping up against a team that you wouldn't expect them to slip up against. So to be honest, Dave, I'm still retaining some sort of hope, some sort of confidence that this Spurs team will show up again when we kind of least expect them to, and when they have really no reason to I guess show up, or you know, when they showed in previous games that they can't show up when they need to, they show up when it doesn't make any sense at all. So that's how I sort of see this one happening. And to be honest, the way that these games, you know, sort of end up being hyped up and everything, always there's a million different scripts, there's a million different rabbit holes that the game could go down, and that's often the case with Chelsea. Sorry to look at it as a more existential way, Dave, but yeah, that's just the way I see the Spurs team. I think they're still very capable of anything.
No, look, that's the thing. We are capable. You know, I sort of learned with the Man City game and even the Aston Villa game to a degree. When you go in there with no hope whatsoever, Tottenham Hotspur turn up, get you on board again, and then when you expect to win, you're like kick on. Then they really let you down. It's been really, really frustrating. But you know, it's not beyond the realms of impossibility that we do turn up here today. If you can go and beat Man City 4-0, you can go and beat anybody. Quite frank. But we gotta also acknowledge, you know, it's going to be a very
it's going to be so hard. I'm not ruling it out. You know, your question was, you know, is it impossible for Spurs to trip up this Chelsea team? I would say no, it's not impossible. The Spurs team have already done the impossible for me a couple of times, so I think they could do it again.
No, look, definitely agree with that. And Drew, you know, this is the next question and sort of aligns with what Jack's saying there. Chelsea have been in significantly better form than us this season, but Tottenham has been able to get results against big teams. Do we have what it takes to pull off an upset today in this London derby? Do you agree with Jack and Dermot to a certain degree?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, I suppose. If we actually get a result today, here's my issue, right? If we get a result today, you can have the people that are Ange out will just sit there quietly and wait until such time as he gets another bad result and he can then come out and be Ange out again. You got people like me who are Ange not out, but not quite. And like I'm Ange don't know, to be honest with you, because he's just flipped and flopped the last few weeks. Like I'm not getting anything from his press conferences that I got before, and he just seems like he's frustrated and miserable. So the way we're playing at the moment seems to mimic how I feel he is towards us. Does that make sense? Like in his press conferences, in the interviews after the matches, he just seems he seems disconnected as well, which is kind of making everything else feel a bit disconnected. So yes, it's possible. We've got so many things against us today. I don't know. I've not been this nervous for a while. I'm really on edge about this game. And usually it's, for me, it's just football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that really pisses some people off. I'm sorry, but it's just football. I mean, I love it up to a point, but I can't get out of my mind about it. But I'm actually I'm really, really a little bit concerned about where we're going and the state of the place at the moment. So I don't know. Yeah, we could, but it just papers over cracks, doesn't it? Because basically we're all at a point where we've got to get through till January and try and re-up some players because we can't keep going the way we are. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's hard.
Look, I think many fans out there are feeling like you, Drew. I think we're all the same. Don't get me wrong. There's that 10% in the back of your brain as a Spurs fan. You're like, could we? We done Man City, we done Aston Villa, done Man United. Could we? But I think the 90% of us, we sort of well aware of our problems, well aware of our form. It looks like the players are maybe losing belief in what they're asking to do. They're not creating a great deal. Like you said, it looks like sometimes Andrew's a little bit despondent. I think he's fed up with all the questions and, all the blame going on him without anybody really recognizing, that, the club have also helped create this issue in terms of not doing enough in the summer. We also had a defensive crisis last season. So why not make sure your defense is rock solid and you got enough numbers so it doesn't really happen to you again this season? I think there has to be acknowledgement that it's not just Ange Postecoglou's fault. It's not just the manager's fault. Everyone deserves bits and pieces of the blame, but it's just whether they're all going to be together and want to be together to be able to try and fix it going forward, or do they want to start playing the blame game that likes to happen at Tottenham, where everyone blames everybody, everyone wants everybody out, rather than actually flip the conversation and go, right, fuck this, I'm bored of this. When can we start talking about winning? What do we have to do? Analyze everything. Is he good enough at his job? Is he? This, that, and the other. If not, get them out and create a culture like Man City. Because look, Man City, we can complain about all the money, all the rule breaks, everything else. When they bought the club, they put the best in class in place to be able to make it successful. And at some point we got to start doing that instead of just, blaming absolutely everybody and getting everybody out of this football club. It's not going to solve anything. Right. We really need to try and change the thinking around this football club. And I think the owners could also have a big hand in that. Come out, recognize where we are, what's the plan going forward, and then you also change the media conversations around Tottenham Hotspur because they know what the plan is, and then you change the conversations around the fan base and all. It's just a filter down effect. So let's wait and see what sort of happens there. But look, big game today. I do have a couple more questions around Ange Postecoglou's situation heading into today's game before we get into the dreaded centre back chat. And we've got Ryan Trestane here with the super chat. Big up, Rhino. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Dave off, we put in the performance like Thursday. Is Ange gone? I would want him gone right after the game. Hashtag Ange out. Look, I was on last one on Spurs a few weeks ago or just before the Bournemouth game, and I said if we lose the Bournemouth game and we lose heavy to Chelsea, once the fans at the stadium start making their voices heard, once they start booing, go and leave you out, which it's already turning. We got booed. There was problems with the away fans Thursday night, which shows they're starting to show their resentment to what's going on. They were booed off the pitch after the game against Fulham, which shows the whole fans are starting to show their resentment to what's going on. More and more people, even people that, still believe, Ange isn't, all of the problems at Tottenham Hotspur right now, they're all starting to question. The tide is slowly starting to turn. All the media personnel, the pundits, the papers, they're all starting to question what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur. Ultimately, it's cheaper to sack Ange Postecoglou, then recognize your mistakes and go and fix them. So, ultimately that's what they're going to do, right? They'll probably end up sacking Ange, bringing in another guy, hoping for the next manager bounce. But I air caution. It's not the right way to proceed for Tottenham Hotspur. At some point, you've got to give a manager stability in the dugout. You've got to recognize what is his problems, what's not his problems. Everyone goes, oh, well, I don't care about the injury crisis. He should be doing better out of what we've given him. Sorry, football just doesn't work like that sometimes. Sometimes you create issues that, for instance, in the summer, we all knew what we needed to do. We didn't go and do it. And now we're in this crisis again. And all of a sudden, it's another manager taking the blame for it. I'm absolutely fed up with it. We can't keep incurring an injury crisis and keep blaming the manager for not being able to navigate us through it with perfect victories. At some point, you got to take stock, take recognition. Is the squad good enough? No. Now, I take the argument. We spent a lot under Ange Postecoglou. But with the 400 million we spent, why is there still so many holes in the squad? So that's not all on Ange Postecoglou, in my opinion. But anyone else want to answer Ryan's question here?
Well, let me can I just put this to you quickly, because I completely agree with what you say. None of it's, not all of it is his problem. But then you get isolated incidents that are kind of question marks, right? Porro's on his last legs. In the game last week, he almost pulled his groin. He was limping around for 5 or 10 minutes. He clearly wasn't all there. And he still doesn't bring on a dedicated right back. And then in the last game, he plays Gray instead of playing a dedicated right back.
Do you know what?
So you've still got there is still I want to be behind this guy. But then things like that happen, and I'm like, why are you doing that? And again, I know he's in training, he sees it all the time. But surely at some point, you've got to give somebody a break. And it makes more sense to play a right back in a right back position than it does to play a 6 in a right back just because he can.
Do you know what, Drew, right? I understand what you're saying, right? And it's a fair question to have. And look, I think most of us, if we're a manager, you go, right, he's bollocks, you bring in the next guy, and but if you're Postecoglou and you've been hired on a vision or philosophy, and you know what you need to be able to implement it. For instance, fans may have liked or not liked Emerson, but the reality is when he was there, he had no problem using him. They didn't bring in another right back after letting Emerson grow. They've asked him to use Archie Gray as a makeshift right back. That's not Postecoglou's fault. If they let a player go that he was he was playing, and he was using, and they don't replace it adequately, I can understand why he's in the situation he's in. Look, it's clear he doesn't trust Jed Spence. Whether you like it or not, we all play FIFA, we all play Football Manager. If you don't like a player, you don't play him. It's that simple. I don't care who you are. And I think it could be a case here. I'm not defending it, but I'm just trying to maybe have some understanding around it. If you're Ange Postecoglou, you had no problem using Emerson. They let him go and they don't replace him. Right,
but then he used Spence pre-season, tells us, oh, he's actually not doing too bad. He's part of the team. Jed's part of the squad. He's not going out again. Then we give him a new contract. Then he gets asked about Spence again. And then we get told, oh, it's far from a redemption for Spence. He actually needs to work his way into the first team. Well, how the hell is he going to work his way into the first team if you're not even going to give him 10, 20 minutes off the bench?
Well,
is he really that bad?
Also,
you know what I mean?
People, fair enough, we're in this situation now where, hopefully he might start using them. But Jed Spence has been injured for the last part of this season. No one mentioned to be fair. So he's been injured for large parts of this season. And when it comes to Europe, he can't play because he's not registered in the squad. And people can moan all they want, going, well, he should have been registered. Well, it was between him, Ben Davies, and Fraser Forrester. I think in hindsight, although I was screaming about it, I think they actually made the right decision because we're relying on Forrester and Ben Davies heavily for a large degree. Just quickly, but big up, Ryan, my man. Really appreciate it.
Can I add just
quick, 1 second, Darmo. Just 1 second, Darmo. You last week you asked me not to go over you, so give me a minute and then we'll get to you. Don't worry, Darmo. But Zeno Frenchie here says, put the channel on. The first thing I hear is, so that's not all on Ange. Absolute clown behavior defending this manager. Look, I'm pretty sure we're all adults in this situation. Maybe you're not, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure we can have civil conversations without having to resort to calling each other names. First and foremost, if you can't do that, then I'm sorry. I do not think this channel is for you. Second of all, if you put everything on the manager, you're blinking in your one view. And I can guarantee you, once the manager goes, you will start screaming about every other problem because the fall guy will no longer be there. So let's not start doing this. There's other stuff that's not Ange Postecoglou's fault where we could have helped them out more. But I'm guessing then you think we had a magnificent summer transfer window. I'm guessing then if it's not all on Ange Postecoglou. So please, if you do, put that in the comment section, please. But sorry, Dermo, go on.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. I just want to say on Ryan's super chat.
Can someone get this? Sorry, Zeno. Get the Zeno Frenchie out. He's telling us to fuck your gappy clapping channel. Then can't we?
No, that's fine. That's fine. If it's not for him, it's not for him. I'm not going to resort to that. I just feel like we're all adults here. We can all have conversations, be Ange in, Ange out, without having to resort to that sort of stuff and that. But look, you're entitled to your opinion. Look, we're all Spurs fans. I'm not going to wish you any bad ill. Enjoy yourself, my man.
Yeah,
but sorry,
nice Sunday.
Look, I've been saying it during the week. I think I put it in one of the group chats during the week, and I stand by this. I think the easy option for Tottenham is to sack Ange. That's the easy option. That's just easy. The harder option is to stand by him, back him probably in January, back him probably in the summer, and ride out the storm. And I think that's the hardest point. I think for any club, for especially Levy, the easy option is, we just sack a manager. We get another manager in, but you don't fix what the root of the problem is. The root of the problem is we don't back managers. We never have done. We need to back Ange properly. We didn't back him properly in the summer, and now it's come back to bite us in the arse. So I think they've got to take the hard option, win, lose, or draw today. We've got to stick by Ange. I go back to Alex Ferguson, 1989, Nottingham Forest, so early 1990. Fans wanted Fergie out. One game away from getting the boot. Beats Nottingham Forest 1-0. They win the FA Cup at the end of that year. They back him properly. He brings in the class of 92, goes on to be one of the most successful managers the Premier League has ever seen. Now, I'm not saying Ange is going to do that. I'm just using that as a point. That the easy option is sacking managers. It's about backing them. It's about standing by them through the rough times and celebrate them in the good times. And we at Tottenham have a history of when the going gets tough, we just sack a manager. Well, when the going gets tough, let's stick by Ange and let's see him through and let's back him and let's get him to glory. Because with Ange, we will get there. I followed him at Celtic. I know what he's like. And all this, he does look a bit annoyed, but he wants to get it right. So that's just one to say to it, Dave. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're all good. I've only bantering with you there, so I have. You threw it my way last week, I threw it your way.
Yeah, I know, that's true. I did like it, though. Fair play.
Big up Foggy Foam. Just wanted to welcome Foggy in. Really good supporter of the chances. Big up guys at defenses valued at around 180 million. Yes, Levy is an awful owner, but can't hide the fact that Andrew's taking us backwards with teams ahead of us spend less. Look, you're more than entitled to your opinion. What I would say is they did leave him short on the left-hand side of the fence this year. I don't think that's good enough or acceptable. And look, like I said, there has been money spent. I'll acknowledge that. But we still don't have a full squad to be able to compete. There's still holes in it. And the thing is, for me, is you need to spend more, especially this January, to be able to help us out. But Foggy Foam, fair point, my man. Good to see you in the house. See, example to franchise, whatever you want to call them. Can agree to disagree. Nice and politely. Wayne Bonner, big up, my man, says, just join what's the centre-back situation. Well, I think we're all in the same suspense as you, Wayne Bonner. None of us know anything different. We don't have, any special insights or anything like that. We're just sitting here waiting in suspense like you, my man. It's like a new blockbuster movie coming out, isn't it? What centre-back is available? Dark Song G, wasn't Dom a former Blues player? Hope he scores. He was there at one point, wasn't he, before he went to Liverpool? So you're absolutely correct. It'll be great for him to score today. Problem is, though, Dark Song G, we just don't have anyone that can actually put a ball in the box for the guy to feed off. I think Sarr went to cross a ball, it went out for a throw-in. Basuma went to cross a ball, went out for a throw-in. Johnson didn't complete any crosses. Werner didn't complete any, honestly, the guy may as well go and do a PE lesson because he's not getting any shots in front of goal. It's just genuinely at this point. a fitness exercise for the guy. Put him out there, let him run around, you know. Let's see if we might be better off sending him to do a half marathon or a full marathon this summer, because he's certainly going to have the fitness levels to do it, you know. But we got to start trying to create this guy chances in front of goals. Yes, he's had a few half chances here and there, but I'm sorry, as a striker, you can't just be feeding off that. You got to get at least, you know, 2-3 chances a game. But big up Dax on G. Hopefully he does step up and score today. Ryan Trestain renewing his membership. Really appreciate that, Rhino. Big yourself up, my man, and really appreciate support. Hopefully you're keeping well. Hopefully, you know, you're watching the game behind the couch today, Rhino, as well. Absolute legend. And then we've got this from Brecken. He says, I just wanted to say that I really respect this channel's focus on keeping conversations civil and respectful while still allowing others to voice their opinions. No, look, you know what? I really appreciate it. I'm just a firm believer that, you know, all the screaming and shouting at each other doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't resolve that. And then eventually, once karma heads prevail, that's when, you know, stuff starts happening. So for me, you know, at the end of the day, the way I see it, right, we're all Spurs fans. We all face the same struggles. And quite frankly, regardless of who you are, we all have our own struggles in life. Do you really need to be carrying baggage from Spurs, you know, and an argument you've had in the Spurs community with you in stuff that you're doing outside of this? Not really. And at the end of the day, we're all adults, you know. Let's have civil conversations with each other. Like, I'm not going to hate anybody for having a difference of opinion to me. It's all about bringing on people with difference of opinions and having conversations, having chats. That's what it's about for me, personally. But big up, Breck and Jack. And do you want to say?
That's very kind of you to send that in, man. I think it's just something Dave and I try our best with. Maybe we don't always get it right, but I do feel like we have tried at least to always make sure that, you know, anybody's opinion, whether they're Ange in, Ange out, Conte in, Conte out, we've been on here for a while now, and we've had various people have various different opinions on than us about anything from Ben Davies to Sanchez to Dyer, whatever it might be. But it's just about just sort of talking about football. To have fallings out over a left back or over a right back decision just seems really silly at the end of the day. And that's what we try to do. Just try to have good chats about Spurs. And Spurs are already a nutcase. They already wreck your head as it is. No reason to have each other wreck each other's heads, you know, over Spurs conversations. We're just trying to make sense of a very incomprehensible football club. So thank you very much, Brecken. It's very, very kind of you, man.
But look, you know, it's each to their own at the end of the day. You know, there's some people would say, oh, you're not argumentative enough, and that's what they want to see. You know what I mean? So each to their own. What I would say is there's various different channels around the community for whatever you like. I think there's a channel there for everybody. So big up, Brecken. Really appreciate the support, brother. Absolute legend. But look, guys, let's keep it moving. I want to say a big up the Wizard tuning in from Dublin. Good to see you. What a name, by the way. And Robert as well from Illinois, and Chance and Kube as well. Good to see you all, guys. But look, guys, let's keep it moving. Come to you on this one first, Drew, as well. Fans made their frustrations clear at full-time in their last home game against Fulham in a most recent away match against Bournemouth midweek, and across social media, supporters have been vocal with their disappointment with the team's performances, as well as with Ange Postecoglou, who's also had a few run-ins with the fan base since his arrival. Could a heavy loss today against Chelsea spell the end of Postecoglou's time at Spurs?
It depends on the style of or the manner, I guess, of the defeat. If they go out there and they don't look like they're playing for him, then I don't, as much as I hate to say it, I don't know that there's much choice, you know. But then I was talking to Jack the other day on the other show that we did, and it's like, you know, fatigue can look a lot like not putting effort in.
Yeah.
Like when you're drained, what are you supposed to, you know, if you're literally out of energy and you're supposed to track back and you don't have the means to track back, that can look an awful lot like you're not playing for the manager. So I don't know. This is why I think it's so precarious this afternoon. I don't know. Because if somebody does,
do you think the board would have do you think the board would have the balls to stick behind Ange Postecoglou if it's in case things went wrong today? Do you think they have the balls to stick behind them, or do you think they'll look to put the blame on him first opportunity they get?
do you know, I don't even know it's necessarily that they've got the balls. I think in hindsight, you may look at 18 months ago and see who was on the list of managers that we were looking for. And if you look at that list now, I'm sure half of those managers are now in jobs. So I don't even know if I don't even know if it comes down to them having the balls or not. They might have just got themselves into a position whereby they've got a manager in, they haven't backed the manager, and now said manager is on the verge of being sacked, but they've got nobody better to replace him with. So I don't know that they can sack him, to be perfectly honest with you. Who are we getting? Ryan Mason again? I mean, come on.
I'm telling you,
We cannot keep doing this.
Garrett Southgate, guy, yes man, says nothing, club man. You know, the dream is absolutely sitting there waiting for him.
Not doing it.
No. Honestly, that will test my patience. But Jack, I do want to come to you on this one as well, my man. Is there too much emphasis on Postecoglou being under pressure from the media and the fans? Because in his latest press conference, he seemed to suggest that all the decisions made by him and the club were based on the understanding that he is here for a long term and he plans to see it through.
Is there too much pressure from the fans?
Is there an internal belief? Because that's what he seems to be putting out there.
Yeah, I am. I was selfishly, I was relieved that he had some sort of confidence that he's not going to get, sacked after this game. It did give me some sort of relief, but part of your question was right. Like, are the fans' pressure and is the media's pressure on Ange too much? And is it kind of unrealistic, maybe considering the actual murmurings inside the club? Hard for me to answer that because, to be honest, I think from the media side, I would say yes. Like, there have been plenty of times too much pressure on Ange and way too serious of conversations, I think, about whether he's good enough. He loses his first game really to Chelsea in the Premier League just last year. And people were saying, is this sustainable? Is this good enough? And at the end of the day, that felt a bit harsh already, where it was kind of like, well, he did go on like a 10-game winning streak there. Maybe he deserves some credit of some kind. And people were already very quick to go like, oh, well, is this sustainable? Is this good enough for the Premier League? So I would say the media very much so guilty of pouncing on any opportunity to put pressure on Ange. When it comes to the fan base, I don't know. Like, maybe not actually. Like, I feel like the fan base has tried to be patient at times.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, us Spurs fans, we get put through the ringer on such a regular basis when it comes to try to figure out this football club that I don't necessarily blame fans every now and again for losing their head or for basically maybe not believing exactly in the project. They've had so many projects they've been sold before that ended up not working out. What's maybe the difference between this and previous ones, So I just don't really necessarily have to blame Spurs fans for putting pressure on Ange. But Dave, I would make the distinction that maybe the media have put pressure on Ange maybe unfairly before. And I am relieved to find out, like you were saying, that he doesn't seem to think that there is maybe as much pressure on him from within as there is. I know you had divided up these questions very well, but on your sort of thing about Drew and like, I do feel like, a lot of it does just come down to with Levy and this board is like you say, how do the fans respond in the stadium? If there are Levy out chants, if there are really loud boos, if there does really come across to be a very toxic atmosphere, I don't know, like the resolve of Daniel Levy and the board, because times before they've chickened out when they've come to this situation. And I don't know if they're going to have the balls, like you say, to hold on tight this time. I don't believe they will. I think they'll probably make the same mistakes that they have before. And it's just kind of how it is. But sorry to ramble on there. It was a lot of parts to that question. There's
also a percentage of fans, and I don't know how big the percentage is, but I'm looking at you, Ryan. Big up. He has openly said on this channel he will not back Ange until he's won 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup, and a Carabao Cup. He said that on a show, and I honestly thought he was just trolling, but I think he was serious. So how many of those fans out there are not going to back this guy until he's already won, but yet aren't going to give him a chance to succeed? I mean, that sounds like an oxymoron to me. It just seems completely pointless. So yeah, big up.
Won't give
Ryan,
him a
mate.
chance to succeed until he succeeds.
Yeah, exactly. Like, prove to me that you can win something by winning something, but I'm not going to give you the time to win something. I'm going to get on your back straight away. And it's just compounded. Like I say, I'm sorry to but it's just compounded by being this club, by being this chairman who wants to, look at the money in his bank balance, but doesn't want to put any towards the team. And people say he's been backed. People will say, he has the last word on players. I've seen stuff in the comments about Timo Werner again. And I can't believe at the beginning of the season, they said, out of everybody, who do you want? And Postecoglou said, I'll have Timo Werner again, please. I think he was given a list of players, or he gave a list of players, and they were like, do you know what? We can't do this. You can have nobody, or you can have Timo again. So he went, well, I need bodies, so I guess I'll have Timo again. Now, I just, there's just people assuming that he went out and was like, as soon as last season finished, he went, oh, let's get Timo back. I don't think it went that way. I think he got given an ultimatum that was, I'm sorry, dude, it's either this or it's kind of not anything, or somebody of lesser value. And he went, oh, okay, let's get Timo again. He kind of knows the program. Do you know what I mean? He knows what I want from him. So let's just make it work for another year. Like, I don't believe he's going out and making these decisions like people assume that he's making. It just doesn't sit.
I think the anger's being directed at the wrong person. I think it should go at Johan Lang. I think he's gone under the radar, getting absolutely no scrutiny whatsoever. His recruitment last January and this summer has been absolutely shocking compared to what we actually needed at the time. Him and Rob McKenzie, I think, need a serious look at. People wonder where this project has gone awry. It went awry when Paratici, got his ban, whatever. Yes, he still works on the periphery, but you had Gabonini working off his mandate. Now that's gone. You bring in Johan Lang, Rob McKenzie. It's completely veered off. I think, personally, the wrong people are getting the wrong scrutiny. But also, I'm very hesitant to jump on the whole media hype around the manager, because I remember last year, Jamie Carragher sat on after a game about Antonio Conte, saying everything was his problem, this, that, and the other, and everyone used it. Oh, he's so right. He's 100% right. I remember a few weeks later, then he starts sitting there and he goes on about the actual internal problems of the club, that managers aren't the problem at Tottenham Hotspur, this, that, and the other. So I'm very, very hesitant to jump on, their sort of, their pylon on the managers and stuff, because I know once they go, they're all going to start talking about the internal problems in the club and what chance does a manager really have, etc., etc., etc. So very, very hesitant to jump on that. I do want to throw a question at Dermot, and then we'll get back in and take some more chats. Dermot, Postecoglou mentioned into the lead-up game that he's going to fight. Now, do you think that the team is still fighting for him? I've heard some fans question whether the players are running for him and given recent results. Now, Drew and Jack were saying that they had a conversation the other day. Sometimes fatigue can look like not trying. Where are you at when you look at recent performances and, energy levels on the pitch and stuff like that? Because we've had an example of when players aren't trying towards Conte's, the end of Conte's tenure and stuff like that. Do you think we're at that point, or do you think it is what Drew and Jack were saying the other day? Fatigue can look a bit like that.
I agree with Jack and Drew, because I think they looked tired at Fulham. At the end of that Fulham game, they looked out on their feet. I think, again, Bournemouth, we looked tired. I think the players are still behind Andrew 100%. I think they love the way he does it. There's none of this same as Conte or Mourinho where they're not playing for him. I think they are playing for him. I think we're just genuinely tired because the squad's too small. And players have to play more games than what Ange will probably like them to do. And we do have a lot of injuries as well. People seem to forget that. We've got the spine of our side out. So if you take a spine out of any good side, they're going to struggle. Man City lose one player, and they've absolutely gone to pieces. So, players do matter. So I think they're tired. I think the media, very quickly, David, so if you don't mind me saying, media the media are the major problem of what's happening at Spurs, that they keep ramping it up. You look at Talk Sport. Andrew's in trouble. You look what I like Simon Jordan, what he mostly has to say.
Yes, no way.
But not all the time. But I think some of the references of when he talks about Spurs is a bit, I think he needs to go and drink some more mint tea or whatever he drinks, because he's talking absolute trash. You hear that Jason Cundy, who wants to go away too, because he's not favourable in Tottenham. You look at that Roy Jennings, they're all on wiping up. Oh, there's a crisis at Spurs. There's a crisis at Spurs. Well, yeah, we're not playing well because A, we've got the spine and the team out. B, we've got players that are running their legs off and very fatigued and tired. So, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. You can't blame everything on Ange. It's not Ange's fault. Ange doesn't go out and run the recruitment department. So the likes of Lang and them people should be getting a lot more abuse than they are getting. And you're right. Steve Hitchen was another one who went under the radar. Do you know what I mean? So people like that, I don't think everything should be directed at Ange. It should be directed at the recruitment team. And also, we have to look at the bigger picture. We've got injured players. There's players playing too many games in short space of time, not getting a rest, and they're tired. So, what do you expect?
No, look, absolutely fair enough. It'd be interesting. I think today will show all. If we go out there and players are running on reserve and they're really putting in the energy, I think we can clearly see they're still fighting for the manager. They're just fatigued and really need help. If they sort of sit off Chelsea and just allow them to play around and don't really make any effort to get in tackles and shit like that, then I think, we get that answer either way. But I really enjoyed that conversation, actually, boys. So thank you very much for having that with me. We've got the Belgian HOTSPUR says, great panel, 300 plus in the house, only 70 likes. Come on, you
Thank you, Joris.
Belgian. Really appreciate you doing our job for us. You're actually better at this. All you guys are better at this than what we are in terms of pushing for the likes and that. Really appreciate it, guys. So thank you very much, Belgian.
We're not even at 100. He is right. Please, everybody, push it up to 100 at least. Let's at least get... I would like to think that 33% of you, a third of you, are enjoying this stream. So please, everybody, get it to at least 100.
Really appreciate it. And if anyone that doesn't know what it's like and you're an old fart like me, it is just a thumbs up button. If you just press that, it'll light up for you, give you a little firework and stuff like that. Rain Man, good to see you, my man. He says, twisted my ankle, so I had to put my ticket on the exchange today. But guaranteed a win. You heard it here first, Rain Man. If we don't, we'll be a lynch mob looking for you, my man. Pitching forks, chasing you down Tottenham High Road. Belgian HOTSPUR. Big up, Yari says a painful rebuild is 3 to 5 years. Clue is in the name. Do we agree with this? Because some people would say, look, you can't allow mediocrity to go on that long and stuff like that. Do you agree that a painful rebuild is 3 to 5 years? Anyone want to take this? Anyone agree with Yari?
I'll just quickly say yes, because it's Tottenham Hotspur. Like, Spurs don't do things easy. Like, it's not like, that's the other thing I don't necessarily totally agree. Like, I'm willing to have conversations about what Ange is doing wrong, what Ange is doing right, what he needs to do differently. But let's be honest here. Like, no Spurs manager has been set up to win something within a season and a half. Very few Spurs managers, I would say, have been given the tools, the resources, the time, the patience, everything that they need in order to start delivering trophies that quickly. So for me, with Ange Postecoglou, a guy that's also fresh to the Premier League, as much as I know a lot of people like to back up his CV, he actually doesn't have the CV that even the previous managers did. You look at Conte, you look at Jose, even Nuno to a degree, probably had a slightly better CV than even Ange Postecoglou does. And those guys still got the can quite quickly, and they were not given, let's say, all the resources, all the tools and everything to really build something. So with Ange Postecoglou, if this is the guy we back, if this is the guy we believe in, you absolutely, in my opinion, have to give him that trust and have to show him that patience, at least for 2 seasons. If you feel like you're done after the 2 seasons, I don't necessarily blame you, but we have to show some sort of resolve and patience with somebody or something. And in my belief, painful rebuild is absolutely 3 to 5 years, because we're Tottenham Hotspur. We don't make things easy. It takes us 7 years to buy a backup left-sided center back. It takes us 5 years probably to bring a new left back. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing that we're getting a left back this January window. We're probably going to get one next summer, not even this summer, but the next summer. We're probably going to get a left back. So that's just what it's like as a Spurs manager. And so I don't think it's necessarily too easy to get a trophy within 2 years or something. Seems like what people are expecting. Sorry, it didn't make any sense.
Well, no, especially when we don't have the squad to be able to do that. You're absolutely spot on there, Jack. Great. You can clearly see Jack starting to get frustrated with what's going on. Did someone else want to jump in there as well with Jack on this one quickly?
A rebuild is a rebuild. It's going to take time, but I agree with everything Jack says. I mean, we do take time in getting players and stuff done. I mean, we must be on the rarely go slow. I mean, really slow. So Levy's sort of attitude when somebody goes and asks him to do something, I will do it tomorrow. And then when you go in to see him again, can we get that player? I will look at it tomorrow. So yeah, a 3 to 5 year bit rebuild probably lasts into about 30, 40 years, and I probably might get a player I want in when I'm old and crinkly in some old people's home. So we will get there. Eventually, I hope.
Fair. But Yuri also comes in, backs it up, says, in business and in sports, it's well known that a medium-term project is 3 to 5 years. The only way we compete is by young and look at the bigger picture. So fair play, my man, fair point. We've got this from Moss Chops. First of all, chops are absolutely lovely. But big up, he says, my heart tells me for once the board will stick with Ange. They can keep, they can't keep doing what they are doing with the manager and not look at themselves. I mean, look, Mosh Chops, I think everyone sort of agrees with that, right? You know, you can't keep blaming the managers for absolutely everything. But, you know, I do think they really need to look at the DOF situation very, very quickly, maybe before Jack, before they look at, you know, giving Lange more time to try and bring in more sort of players. I think you got to realize it very, very quickly. You know, under Steve Hitchen, we allowed the guy to spend, what, 300-400 million in the club's coffers. And then we spent another 3-4 years trying to get rid of everything that he done, you know, undoing it. So, you know, for me, you got to recognize that very, very quickly, especially if you're Daniel Levy. Because if you are taking the hands off a post that he said he's taking when it comes to transfers and you're putting it in people's hands like that, if they're spending your money, you've got to make sure they're good at what they're doing. And the results since Johan Lang has come in here, I would argue, are poor. You know, he didn't do enough last January to be able to get us out of the injury crisis, which ended up continuing towards the back end of the campaign. You know, he created the problem then this summer by not bringing in more sort of quality ready to be able to have an impact this season. I have no problem with all the young players coming in. I actually think in the long run, they will be good signings. But a manager also needs players for the here and now. It's a results-based business. And, you know, he's getting away with it. And then this January, do I back him to get us out of an under-injury crisis? No, I do not. Not whatsoever. I don't trust him, you know, in terms of the transfer market. I think there's a reason why Villa got rid of him. You know, when we had Paratici and Rob McKenzie, we were starting to see the resemblance of something. We're starting to come out. We're starting to buy good players. And all of a sudden, we've changed tack again. And that, for me, therein lies the problem right now. Do I blame Daniel Levy? Look, Paratici got that suspension at Juve and stuff like that. But what he should have done is done absolutely everything to keep Gabbanini at the football club. You know, give him the job and let him keep working off that narrative rather than bring in other guys with their own plans, own vision, everything else. I'm just not sure it's quite working out. But look, one thing is, Jose Mourinho, Conte, Ange Postecoglou, and even Nuno, they all have good CVs. Regardless of your personal opinions, they all have very good CVs behind them. The only common denominator on their CVs is when they come to Tottenham Hotspur, the trouble that they incur here. You know, it's the only blip on most of their CVs. And I'm sorry, it can't be them that's to blame for absolutely everything. The problem is we're hiring managers with steadfast beliefs, steadfast philosophies. That's happened everywhere else. We bring them in here on the notion we want you to implement that here. And then after a season, we go, no, you will adapt. We want you to change. But we're not hiring them sort of managers that are flexible like that. And that's why we keep entering ourselves at these points, because winners will try, but when they're constantly being told, you're useless, you don't know what you're doing, you need to change your philosophy, and they're being told by people that are so used to losing, by the way, you know, they can't bear it. They're like, it's delusional, I'm fucking out of here. Can't keep going through this cycle. At some point, you got to give manager time to be able to sort their issues out and change the culture at Tottenham Hotspur. That there is going to be the longest thing to try and change at this football club. Anyone else want to come in and speak to Mosh Chops here?
I have a sneaky feeling that, and it's probably more a delusion than, you know, really any sort of sense of logic, but I do have a delusional feeling that maybe Ange has somehow convinced Levy that he is the guy, and probably that might have been done in the interview stage or something. And Levy is probably, my hope, and hopefully delusional hope, is very reluctant to get rid of Ange. So I'm in a similar position of Moss Chops. For some reason, I have some sort of belief that maybe Daniel Levy is trying his absolute best to avoid the exact same cycle that he's gone through for the previous managers. But I don't know. Daniel Levy, can we really say that he's that self-aware? I'm not sure.
Well, I think he sacks Ange Postecoglou. He's gone and admit a mistake. And since he come out and said, we got our club back, I think he's in a very precarious position. I think he's got to weigh it up very, very...
Let's hope he's self-aware.
People around him, you know, to be able to weigh up that decision is what I would say. But big up Mosh Chops. We'll keep it moving. We'll get the boys in on the next one. MS says, great channel, Irish Jack, great guest too. Cheer up, it's almost Xmas. When the seedy Dutch man is back, we will smile and laugh. Do you know what, lad? I love this sort of month. And in general, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I try to always see the positive things. You know, I try not to get too bogged down with all the negative things and like that. And it is the season of giving. Unfortunately, we just keep giving everybody else points. I didn't think we were this generous, to be quite frank. You know, I would like us to be a little bit more greedy throughout this month. Put the points on the board and give your own fan base something to be happy about. Last thing I want trying to deal with Christmas, and then also trying to deal with potential new managers, all this sort of jazz. I do not want it. Selfishly, I just want a nice Christmas. So just try and win games, keep the manager in the job. Let me get into January, and then we can speak then. But just don't do it right now, I beg. But MS, thank you very much. We look, when we win, there's no happier man. When we lose, there's probably no angrier man. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I don't apologize. I am who I am. I have my flaws. No one's perfect. Jack, anything you want to say to MS?
Merry Christmas to you, MS. Thank you, very kind, and really appreciate all the love that we've been given today. Like I said earlier, you know, we're willing to have conversations about things that we might not agree on, that we might not necessarily see eye to eye on, but I do feel like we try to strike that balance of not having fallouts over it or anything like that. We try to keep it as civil as possible. So appreciate you, MS, and Merry Christmas to you. Enjoy your holidays.
Merry Christmas. And look, hopefully the big Van de Ven will be back soon. Vroom, vroom. You know, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez. They did say middle of December. I think we're approaching that point now in a few days. So hopefully that's the case. MS. We've got 7 in the house. Andrew's highline tactics are injuring our players. Interesting. Anyone agree?
Do you agree, Drew? Might be on mute there, Drew, I think.
Oh, I thought he was just trying to contemplate where he was sitting.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess there's an element to it because a high line, you're having to chase back. You know, if you lose the ball with the high line, then people have got to track back further. So there's an element of potential to that, I guess. I just think it's an issue that we've had. I think it goes deeper than that. I think we've had an issue with our medical team for a while. I think there's an argument that the stopping and starting of the whole VAR thing is still a thing. You still get 2-3 minutes, and you get people standing around getting cold while they've just been running around for 15-20 minutes. So I don't think they do themselves any favors by just starting. But yeah, there's possibly an element to it. But again, you would think that if that's the case, somebody in the background will be like, "Hey guys, can we address this? There's an elephant in the room. That is, we've got 5 players out with hamstrings. It's the second season. We were told that this would, you know, the players would get used to this, and they're clearly not. So maybe we need to rethink a strategy." But then that would be common sense, wouldn't it? And I don't see much of that going on with our medical team.
Do you know what? Look, I do think, you know, maybe in the medical department, you know, you just need some sort of genius to come in and say you're doing it all wrong. You need to look at it this way and that way. A bit like what Paratici done to a certain degree before his expulsion. But I'm very hesitant to put, you know, all these injuries on Postecoglou's tactics because Conte suffered the exact same. And his tactics involve sitting in, not pressing the opposition. So I'm very hesitant to put it on there. I think you've got to factor in that we're playing across 4 competitions this year, you know, which adds a lot more minutes, a lot more international games, a lot more games in general. I think you've got to take that into account, you know. And, you know, when players moan about, you know, having so many games across the international and the domestic club pyramid, everyone, you know, FIFA's response is, well, we'll give you a 25-man squad. Use it. So, you know, there it is. You know, that's the way it's going to go going forward. It ain't going to alleviate. So the only answer is build your squad to be able to deal with it. Simple.
Well, the one thing I would say against that, or just say that, is that with Conte football, although, you know, there wasn't the pressing, we were a counter-attacking team that basically sat back in the last third and then had to run 70, 80 yards every time they wanted to attack. So they were still putting themselves through it, just not in the same style, right? There was less back and forth, but when they had to go, they really had to go. Do you know what I mean? Because you had the entire length of the pitch that you had to get through. So, you know, horses for courses, I think that's a bit 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Fair. Well, look, let's keep it moving. We'll take a few more chats. Then, you know, we got to plug our sponsorship, the best sponsorship in the world, may I add. And then I do want to get in and talk about the centre-back situation, see where people are at. Just before I do, Jack, can you check the under-21 lineup today? See if Alfie Down played for me, please.
Sure.
If you don't mind. We got 7 in the house. Andrew's height. Oh, yeah, sorry, just read that. 7 getting a double take. Why not 7? We've got Azad Ahmed in the house. Really hope we lose today. Don't care. And strong words there from Azad. Look, We know we don't agree, on some things, Azad. That's absolutely fine. You can still want to win, though, my man. And then if it doesn't happen, still say, look, didn't happen. I want the manager gone. You can still want the club, to win today is what I would say. But at the end of the day, you're like everybody else. You pay your money to support the club. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just saying, common ground is I really want Spurs to win today. If we don't, Ange has to go. But Azad, put it straight to the point, my man. No buttering it up, I suppose. Absolutely fair play to you. That's your opinion, lad. We've got Rooty 2. Training is as intense as the matches. Apparently not much coaching, but lots of pressure. Hence all the injuries, ? What I will say is, again, I'm a bit torn on this because, you hear a lot of the class of 92 from Man United. They say, a lot of them say their trainings were more intense than the games on the weekend. Which made, in essence, the games on the weekend a lot easier. So I'm a bit hesitant about, the intense training and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I think we just make too many excuses to a certain degree. I think you build a proper squad. I think you have a much better squad capable of handling it. But I remember under Conte, people were like, what are they working on? And then players were moaning that they was too analytical. You had them there working on throw-ins. Well, how many goals have we conceded from throw-ins in the last few years? Quick throw-ins. They were moaning that he was spending too much shape on corner kicks. I mean, what do you think he's going to spend time on if you're not defending them? Do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit hesitant to sort of blame the manager and all the training and all that brutally, because we heard off Hugo Lloris just recently, Conte was too over the top with it all. So, okay, you don't want to win is basically what you're telling me. You just don't want to win. Because if you do whatever it takes to win. You recognize Conte's doing whatever it takes to win, and you follow example rather than make the excuses. But Rooty 2, fair point. I just want to welcome in Darren Caban. Good to see you, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well. RST said people bring up the injuries, but you have to be resilient, and these players aren't showing that. No, absolutely fair point as well. You've got to try and be resilient. But what I would say is when you've lack of leadership in the squad, it doesn't really help with, combating with resilience, my man. But absolutely fair point. We've got RST in the house as well. Says Ange won't be here for 5 years. That's not who he is. Do you know what? I understand why people say that when you look at his CV, but every step he took was to progress himself. I think now that he's at the pinnacle, if he was winning at Tottenham and things were rosy, I don't see him just going, right, 3 years is up, I'm out of here. He's obviously going to continue, now that he's reached the pinnacle. Jack, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And no disrespect to Nick and Yokohama Mariners and teams like that, but I'm pretty sure as a manager, if you succeed there, you're probably looking, like you say, to take the next step. You're not looking to build a 10-year career in the Japanese league or anything like that. I think you're looking to try to move yourself up as quickly as possible as a manager. So I'm pretty sure that's what's happened for him, is that he's just looking to progress himself into eventually the pinnacle, which is practically the Premier League and a team like Spurs. So I'd agree, Dave. Yeah. Hard to imagine someone wanting to stay at Melbourne FC for 10 plus years. No
Especially
offense.
bigger clubs are coming, right? Yeah, I agree. But RST, look, could be proven wrong. You just don't know. Look, he might not even survive today, and then there's his usual short tenure, right? But big up RST. Really appreciate support, buddy. 7 also coming back, says, love the stream. I'm not saying Ange out, by the way. No, of course you're not. I know you're not. You're asking questions. And look, I think it's good to ask questions of absolutely everything. That's why I have no problem debating people of a difference of opinion to me and stuff like that. I think it's great to ask questions. Not everything is always as good as it seems, or people will tell you, and it's never always as bad.
Yeah.
People tell you at the end of the day, listen to both sides of the argument, make up your own opinion. 7, absolutely. Big up, my man. Really appreciate support. We got 2 more, and then I am going to crack on with the sponsorship. We've got Thomas Owen, absolute legend, says, we are in Europa this season. Every team has a drop-off. With them extra games, what other manager that's available would you want in a cup final? Come on, you Spurs. Now, bringing a bit of context to the situation, we can sit here and say it's rubbish, this, that, and the other, but he's absolutely spot on. Europe does bring a drop-off. We've seen that. We're struggling to cope. I think, 3 games off the back of Europe this year. I think Palace was one of them. Ipswich was another, and there's another in there. Yeah, Fulham. We haven't won, right? So there is evidence that points to his argument here. And to be honest with you, I've also made this point to Jack there the other day. Like, if we could salvage this, just get to the end of the season, still in a cup competition, I think with the way we play, I think you'll catch teams. I think you'll steamroll them in terms of a semi-final or final. I think you'll absolutely shock them, because they never expect you to come at them like that in a final. They expect you to be a bit more apprehensive and a bit more nervous. So for me, I would love to win a final playing the way we can, you know, and we've shown this year. And that's why I say stay in the cups, because we've shown this year we can beat the big teams. That's where we've struggled in terms of when we've got to the last stages in cups. We haven't had the ability to be able to beat a big team. We do now. So for me, I think you get this to a final, I think possibly Ange could be the man. But right now, it's just about getting there. No one can even envisage a final right now. But Jack, anything you want to say to Thomas?
You would look at Newcastle last year. They obviously showed the symptoms and the signs of a team that couldn't handle, you know, the balance of the multiple competitions. They also went through a huge injury spell, right? Eddie Howe's team, right? Pretty much everybody in that Newcastle team is injured. Then you look at even Aston Villa. This is kind of funny, right? Aston Villa went on like 6-7 games without winning a game or something like that. Wasn't spoken about at all in the media. 7 games without
I
winning.
think it was 8.
8 without winning
I
a
think
game.
so.
Didn't get one pipe of it from the media. Yet, you know, you hear all about Spurs and their bad form. So that's another good example. So yes, I'd agree that plenty of teams do suffer from having to basically, be that team that is trying to balance multiple competitions at once and isn't necessarily been given the squad to do so. Everybody goes there. Even if you do have the squad, you still see teams for some reason to kind of struggle with that schedule. So I would agree with him. It's not a complete excuse or anything either, but it is. You know, you see other teams suffer from it, so why can't we?
Fair. And Thomas, look, in terms of what else is available out there, I mean, Drew made that point earlier on, right? There's not a lot of great options out there at the minute. Now, saying that, you know, you might tempt one out of a club somewhere else. Let's wait and see what happens. But for me, I'm okay to stick with it for the time being and just sort of try and get us to January, try and get some investment in here and come out the other side of it, whether we will or not, you know. Let's wait and see. But big up, Thomas. Really appreciate support. Just quickly, Darren Rees, good to see you in here. Welcome, my man. Hopefully you enjoy the conversations we have here. Word of warning, just so you know what we're about. We'll take both sides of the conversation, have discussions around it and stuff like that. Hopefully you enjoy yourself around here. Everyone, welcome Darren in. We've got Next Level English teacher. Good to see you. Why did I teacher in there? Next Level English. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Kulu Sexy Football as well. Great to see you. Then we also have this from the Belgian HOTSPUR. Yori says, with a unique business model, the only way we can compete is to buy young. Of course, we also need some players for the here and now, but Ange is hamstrung. Drew, we'll let you take this one, man. Would you agree with what Belgian here is saying? And basically saying, you know, it's always going to take longer under the unique model. And maybe he's sort of confused why we adopt, you know, fans are so quick to chase managers out here, knowing that the board don't give them that sort of investment to really help them go and win something immediately. It's always going to take time. It's always going to be a process. And I know Spurs fans are sick of hearing the word process, but the reality is until that guy goes or wants to sell up, it's always going to be a process to get it. Harry Redknapp had to endure it. Pochettino had to endure it. It's just about a manager trying to navigate his way through it. Do you agree with him here, Drew?
Yeah, I think so. I also think that there's a big element, and I don't know that anyone's really ever. I'm not saying I'm the first, but I've not heard anyone really suggest this before. I honestly think Levy has hamstrung himself by being such a pain in the arse to do any kind of business with, right? Because you look at other teams and you look at other players and you look at the deals that people manage to pull off. And I honestly can't. I sit here and I'm baffled, and I'm like, why can't we do deals like that? Like Alexi McAllister to Liverpool for less than, what was it? Less than 40 million. If we'd even had a chance at doing that deal,
yeah,
it would have been 60, 70.
Mm.
And that's because Levy has put himself out there as being a little bastard.
He's burnt
Nobody
bridges.
wants to deal with him. Nobody wants to deal with him. He's burnt bridges. Nobody wants to buy a player from him. Nobody wants to sell a player to him. If they do, everything's at a fucking premium. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
It's true.
He doesn't do himself or the club any favors, and yet he sits there with that fucking smile on his face in that box. Honestly, I know from a business point of view, and I will admit it, I have admitted it before. From a business point of view, bringing extracurricular, if you like, whatever, ad hoc money into the club, great. But he still, that doesn't excuse the fact that he is the reason we have to go out and buy $40 million teenagers, because honestly, tried and tested and true players, and now we're getting to the point managers don't want to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And that is the big problem. And unfortunately, it's not even that it's just the business model. I think it's just the way that it's going to have to be until this guy jogs on. And the problem is that he's got himself so deep in the company and so deep in the club. I don't know when he's going to jog on, because even if somebody comes in and says, yeah, we'll buy you, we'll put the 4 billion down on the table, everything you want, you can keep the hotel, he is still going to squirm his way into a chairman job. He is still going to say, okay, I'll accept the 4 million, but there's a clause in this contract that says I still get to be chairman. And I guarantee it's going to be in there. And I guarantee people will say, well, sorry about it, that's not happening. And he will still be there because nobody will buy it, because he still wants his fucking clause in it. And that's the problem.
I don't think he wants to sell at all. When you look at the documentary that he done with the stadium, he's so proud of his project. He looks at almost as his baby, his child.
Right.
I don't think he's parting whatsoever, to be quite frank. But look, big up Jory, great. Do you know, all of you, every single one of you throwing in, your questions here. It's been absolutely immense, bringing great sort of diverse to the panel in terms of questions and all that sort of stuff. In fact, actually doing my job for me. So really appreciate all the support, guys. Absolute legends. We've got Faz Radfar 4-1 Spurs. We smash Chelsea, and if we don't, we still trust Ange. But big up Faz Radfar, my man. Big up Faz. Look, let's see what the fallout is after the game. I can tell you now, we go 1 or 2 down very, very quickly. I know exactly what our comments will be like. Ange out, get him out. Everyone frustrated, everyone emotional. I already know what's coming, my man. To a degree, I'm like that as well, so I can't really complain. I get frustrated and that. Just hopefully we can alleviate the pain today. It is the month of Jesus Christ, so let's alleviate the pain today. Big up Faz Radfar, appreciate support. And then Q7, great to see you as always, along with Shane and DB. We're all here again. We go again, man. We're suckers. We're gluttony for punishment. But we're all here. We all enjoy it together. It's one big happy circle to a certain degree.
There might have been one from Azad Hamid, Dave. I'm not sure if we got to that one.
Zad Hamid, give me 1 second. Is that the one where he says he wants Tottenham to lose?
Yeah.
No, I got that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I addressed that.
I might have missed that.
But big up
shout out to Zad.
But look, guys, I do want to take a moment out, because just like we try to bring you the very best sort of content to our ability, well, we've actually managed to bring you the very best VPN in the world and the very fastest VPN in the world. And you've got that right. They're taking over the game. It is NordVPN, guys, and they're just there for all of your footballing needs. They've spotted a gap in the market. Absolutely brilliantly so. They realize there's 3 p.m. blackouts. You can't watch every single game. However, what they've managed to do is provide you a VPN, which basically allows you to put your address anywhere you would like to be across the world and get whatever sports packages, TV packages, or whatever movie packages for you guys for the very best price. And not only that, you could put it onto 10 devices. Now, other VPN companies get a bit greedy. You're only allowed 1 per 1 device. NordVPN said, look, if we're going to change the game, let's do it all the way. So what they've done is said 10 devices, you, your dog, your goldfish, your son, your daughter, your granny, your granduncle, everyone can use NordVPN. You can have it onto 10 devices and stream it. One thing it's great for is traveling. When you're traveling, you want to just be able to have that luxury in the hotel to chill out, watch your TV programs and all your subscriptions. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. You simply just go onto your NordVPN, sign into the subscriptions you already have at home, and work away. You can sit there with a nice hotel ordered in room meal and watch your big TV program or movie that you want to watch. Also, it's absolutely essential this day and age in terms of cybersecurity, and they offer that in abundance, protecting all of your details and all that sort of stuff, so they thought of absolutely everything, guys, and all they want to do is say to you, we've got an offer on right now, make sure you avail of it. Head into the description below, it's all in there, all the details you need, or it is pinned in the chat. You just click on that over to nordvpn.com. Now, they do have a 2-year sort of one there if that's what you want, but there's also other great deals on there for you to go and get. And look, we all highly recommend it. We all have one. Well, me and Jack have one. I think Drew has one. I'm correct as well, or had one. It works. And the great thing is no buffering. There's nothing worse when you're trying to watch a game. You know, you're about to score, you know, you're about to celebrate, and then all of a sudden it starts buffering, circles everywhere. No VPN again said, if we're going to change the game, let's just go whole hog. No buffering. Enjoy your stream, guys. So, guys, I can't plug it anymore. I can't tell you any more great benefits about it. It's all about you getting over and trying it now. Jack, anything you want to say?
Dave covered it perfectly, everybody. Please, pinned at the top of the chat, use that code FLATCAP, get yourself a 2-year plan, get 4 extra months free. You also get 30-day money-back guarantee in case you don't like it, but I'm pretty sure you will. And like Dave said, everything from security to making your life as a Spurs fan easier. Couldn't see a reason not to get it. So please, everybody, go after it. Grab yourself a NordVPN account, and you'd be helping out the channel a ton as well. Well done, Dave.
No, absolutely. You know, they call me the Wolf of Ireland now, you know, not the Wolf of Wall Street, the Wolf of Ireland. But, guys, make sure you get over there. But, look, let's crack on because I do want to get in and talk about our centre-back situation today, which is one that's bugging everybody's mind. So, of course, we have to understand Postecoglou faces a tough situation with limited centre-back options for today's match against a free-scoring Chelsea side, may we add. Ben Davies is the latest casualty. He suffered a hamstring injury in the second half at the Vitality Stadium, which forced him off. And Postecoglou now only has one fit centre-back in Radu Dragusin available for today, which leaves him with 3 potential options for the game. So, Jack, just before we go in, did Dorrington play for you under-21s today?
Dave, maybe you got dates wrong. I couldn't see anything on the
18? Sorry.
under
No,
18s.
Under 18s played. Yeah, he wouldn't have played for that. No, so that's fine. Sorry, you're absolutely spot on. Their next game isn't until the 14th against Brighton. You're right.
But they are winning, I think, the under 18s, in case you're curious.
They're winning?
Or they did win. Yes.
Nice. Come on. I know young Bennett was playing for them today. So we're going to start with Christian Romero. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to divvy one option out to each of you and you can give your opinions. And we'll start with you, Dermo. You've been very patient. I really appreciate that, my man. Too quiet. I do like when me and you have the back and forth. So keep it going, Dermo. But with Christian Romero, Dermo, he hasn't played since the 2-1 defeat to Ipswich Town due to a foot injury. In his recent press conference, Postecoglou mentioned that Romero was due to train Friday and Saturday after finishing rehab on Thursday. Given this, should Postecoglou risk playing Romero today, or has the game come too soon for him? Or, you know, is it a case of having no other option but to try and nurse someone like Romero through the game despite him not being ready?
He'll start. He want to start. He won't need any arm twisting.
Think he'll be chomping at the bit?
Pardon?
Think he'll be chomping at the bit?
Oh, he'll be chomping at the bit. He will. He won't want any arm twist. If Ange says, do you want to play? I think Romero will play if he had his leg falling off. He'll still say, right, boss, I'm ready to play. Get me out there. If you played with one leg, one arm, and half an ear, I think Romero will still get out there.
A couple of times this season, he's looked like he's only got one leg. Sorry.
But, you know, I think Romero, for me, I think Ange has to use him. It's too big of a game not to put in. It's too big of a game to put in Dorrington. I think we have got no other option but to play Romero. But Romero will want to put him out there anyway. He plays for the shirt. He plays for the badge. And he wants to, he's behind Ange. He's one of the leadership. So he wants to lead by example. And I think Romero will start. And, you know, can I just say fair play to Ben Davies for the time he has played?
Yep.
He's done a fantastic job. He's actually led by example. And I actually felt sorry for him when he came off the other night with the hamstring. I actually thought you don't actually deserve that because you've been playing so damn well. But yeah, bring back the Argentinian Bulldog, as I've nicknamed him. And he's there getting ready in there to pull some more hair and bite some teeth. So, let loose the Bulldog.
Just a quick follow-up question for you, my man. Some would argue that, you know, you put Romero out there today, incurs another sort of knock-on effect to it. You're only prolonging the situation you're in because it means then you're going to have him out for even more games further, and you're only damaging the situation. So you don't think Postecoglou should look at maybe putting a Dorrington in there or bringing Archie Gray, who's played there? You don't agree with any of that? You just say, look, if he's half 50, if he's 50% ready, get him out there.
I would. If I was Ange and I was looking at Archie Gray, who's played well there, to be fair, actually, and Archie Gray's done well at right back as well. So, if Archie Gray, he prefers Archie Gray, then I'm happy with that too. I think it's too big of a game to bring in Dorrington. As much as I like Dorrington, as much as I think Dorrington is actually a good player, why did we let Ashley Phillips go? He could have been ideal for today as well. But I just think for the importance of the game, for who it's against, for what's at stake, I think a 50% Romero is better than no Romero at all. So let the Argentinian Bulldog get him in there, let him bite at the Chelsea ankles and show him what it means. And he does lead by example. He is the captain, and he does lead. He leads, and Dragonson plays well with him anyway too. So there's slightly a partnership there. So yeah, I think he's got no other option. He's got no other option. If it was against any other team today, I would say Dorrington all day long. But because it's Chelsea, because of where we are, the importance of the game, how important it is for Ange as well to win a game. Romero, put him in.
Fair enough. Drew, on to you. We're going to throw one at Archie Gray to you, and then I'm going to ask Jack about Alfie Dorrington. Archie Gray, if Romero isn't fit enough to feature, Postecoglou might have to start him at centre-back. You know, he played in this position during pre-season and was deployed as a centre-back last Thursday after Davies went off injured. Does Gray have the necessary qualities to perform at this level at centre-back? Or would this be a gamble given his lack of experience at centre-back against the Chelsea team, who are, quite frank, in a title race and free scoring?
Yeah, I would say definitely a gamble. I mean, he's not a natural centre-back by any means. He's not a natural right back. He's a number 6. I think we all know that. So yeah, but by the same token, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm kind of I'm leaning more towards an air of caution for Romero. I think that unless he is absolutely ready to go, I don't think you risk it, because it would just be our luck that you do risk it and he ends up actually breaking a toe or something worse than he's got, and then he's out for another prolonged period of time. We're in an even worse position, and we're looking for, potentially 2 centre-back replacements in January, whereas at the moment I think we could probably get away with maybe just drafting in one. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I think we just at the point now, we just got to batten down the hatches. Like, we just got to do what we can to get through it. And I guess Ange seems to think it'll make him a better player. So we'll just have to see.
Interesting. And look, I must say, if he does play there today and things go wrong, am I going to get on his case? Absolutely not. This is an 18-year-old boy. We're basically thrown in completely out of position to try and do a job today. And I would urge every fan, despite the anger and emotion and that, and it being a London derby, let's not go at Archie Gray. If he does play there today and things don't go well, it's not his fault at all. Jack, on to you. Alfie Dorrington, the final option is to call him up, and that's for centre-back, who has played at left-sided centre-back for the under-21s. Dorrington was also part of the senior squad during last season's centre-back crisis. Could it be a more reliable option than Gray, given he's natural in that position? Or does Gray's experience in senior men's football give him the edge? Great question, I know.
It's difficult. I do think Gray's probably experience at the senior end does give him that advantage, unfortunately. As much as I would love to root for Alfie Dorrington, as much as I like Alfie Dorrington and I rate him, I don't think there's any worse game to go into than against Chelsea if you haven't had any Premier League experience at all. And also just when it comes to game speed and even the nature of the style of the play, right? He's going to be playing with a very high line against very quick Chelsea players, very tricky Chelsea players, Cole Palmer, Madueke, Neto, etc., right? Jadon Sancho. Like, it's going to be very difficult for him. As much as I don't necessarily rate Archie Gray as a center back, I probably rate Alfie Dorrington more. I do think games like this, experience almost means as much as talent or skill or anything. I think experience goes a very long way, and Archie Gray certainly doesn't have a lot of it, but he does have considerably more than what Alfie Dorrington does, Dave. So I think I would lean on him and hope for the best, really. But I mean, it's not ideal. Either scenario is not ideal, because Alfie Dorrington, you're just throwing him into the absolute deep end of deep ends of deep ends.
Yeah.
And then in Archie Gray's case, we just know he's not a natural back four style of defender. He's not supposed to be a center back. He's not supposed to be a fullback. He can do it because he's a very intelligent player who can make up for maybe a lack of speed or pace or strength with other areas of his game. But he's not a natural center back. And these are games where you do need natural center backs to be playing in that role. But we're in a tough position right now. There's only so many players that we have available. Not easy decisions.
No, it's not easy decisions. It's hard to know, Look, I would definitely have Dorrington on the bench anyway, just in case. And if it's not working out
Sure.
for Gray, then make that option. I do think he might go with Archie Gray, I think, personally. But look, let's wait and see what happens. If Romero's anywhere fit, I'd take the risk.
Absolutely.
I really would take the risk. I think you've got no other option today. But look, let's wait and see how it goes. Q7 says Dragosin and Romero hasn't looked good when I've seen them, in my opinion. Davies has helped it a lot. Just give Dorrington a chance. I mean, it's not like Romero's been that great defensively anyways. And look, absolute fair point, fair point. I think many people are probably of the same opinion, to be fair. And Belgian Hotspur says, how Romero would it be if he starts today and gets a red card? Going to have a bet to make sure it doesn't happen. It's Chelsea, I wouldn't put it past the guy. Robert says, Kev Phillips come back on loan in January. To be honest, that's something I have to look into. I don't know whether we have the clause to be able to pull him back or not. I presume we would. I think it would be bad planning if we didn't. DB says, drags on the right of a back two has been okay. On the left of a two, he struggled. Do you know what? I actually agree with that, DB. I think on the left-hand side, forget about it. The reason why he struggles is he's getting better on the ball, but it's not the best asset to his game. So when you put a right foot on the left side, when he's not good on the ball technically, as other people are as efficient technically, that's where he struggles. When you put him on the right side, it is a little bit better because he can just get his head up, one touch, put that ball. But on his left-hand side, he's constantly trying to chop back into his right-hand foot, which creates the press, creates danger and all that sort of stuff. You're absolutely spot on there, DB. Good to see Shikari Shock as well, actually. Great to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have Daniel Larson in the house. Big up. All the bad things I feel about the club right now goes out the window today. I just want to beat this lot. Hate them. Much love, peeps. And look, I think that's sort of what we were saying earlier on in today's show, guys, right? That, yes, everyone has frustrations around Postecoglou, frustrations around the player, frustrations around the club, the ownership and stuff like that. But going into this game, you got to park it for 90 minutes. After 90 minutes, do what you want. I couldn't care less. Perform a circus trick on the halfway line for all I fucking care. You know what I mean? But from minute 1 to minute 90, it's our rivals. And, if we're going in there fractured, non-togetherness, they're going to absolutely feast upon that. They're going to sniff it and they're going to feast upon it. So today, we've got to get up for this. It's everyone against them. They absolutely hate us. Everyone knows the history. So, got to get this job done today. Big up Daniel Larson. Really appreciate the support, brother. Jack, anything you want to say to Daniel? I know you're very fond of him.
Don't think of Daniel Larson. Hopefully you're doing okay, man. I know Davey's just in the weeds this month, right? He's in the holiday season as a chef. I imagine that he's just looking for any sort of thing to take his mind off of work, as well as just take his mind off of just Spurs in general, any of the bad stuff. He just wants a win. He just wants a win. I absolutely love that from Daniel. Appreciate you, man. And hopefully we get to have you on a fan show or something sometime soon, sir. Hopefully you're doing okay, and appreciate you tuning in.
No, big up, Daniel. Really appreciate it.
Dave, just with regards to Ash Phillips, I've got a feeling the parent club always have the right to bring the player back, because if it comes down to playing time, if they're not getting the play time that they think that the player deserves, then it's their right to bring him back, to then send him out on loan. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be fair for the receiving club to say, no, you can't have your player back, but we're not going to play him. So,
see, the thing is, he is playing, so I don't know how they're going to navigate that. He played there the other day as well, didn't he?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's still our, because he's our player. It's kind of like, screw you, like he's still our player.
Yeah.
So we reserve the right to pull him back regardless of whether you're playing him or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People go mad about our decision. What game?
I tell you, Dave,
that's
got
the Fulham Arsenal one.
It was off. His shoulder was off. And how they've given that is beyond me. Because if you look at the Sonny goal the other night, exactly the same thing, exactly the same sort of situation. We get off, and them lot get the goal given. I don't see a difference. I don't see any difference from Sonny's goal the other night to this one. I don't know. I just want to say something about Dorrington. If he did play Dorrington today, one thing in Dorrington's favour would be he wouldn't be sort of nervous. I think he would be so excited. His adrenaline, I think, a bit like Tatanga when he made his debut against Liverpool on the Mourinho, could have the same effect, and we won that game. So, do you know what I mean? If he does play, he won't have what's the word I'm looking for? He wouldn't have the nervousness. I think it would be the adrenaline and the excitement. So, You know, we've done it before. We've put young players on their debuts, and it's worked out. So, you know, I'm not ruling it out. So, you know, he may be he is the future, Dave. And you keep telling me he's a great player. He's done well for the under-21s, and you have faith in our youngsters. You know, maybe we might get our own sort of class of 92 coming through now eventually.
Do you know what?
Look,
as much as I have faith in them, you know, it's up to other people, you know, to have faith in them and stuff like that. Look, one thing I will say is he's played left-sided centre-back for Tottenham. He's competent on the ball, you know, but, you know, to that point, you know, today it's a different level of opponent. You're playing a team that's full of confidence, going to have absolutely runners everywhere. If he ain't used to that, he can be found out very, very quickly, you know. But for me, you have Archie Gray, you have Dorrington there, and depending on the situation, you know, you might have to make a change, you might not. Let's see what happens. But look, regardless, we're a wounded animal. You still got to fight. There's been some great movies made about wounded animals still going on and fighting. So we've got to embrace that today. Just before we get the lineup, Alaskan Hotspur says, big up, guys. Pain week here. Let's hope someone shows up. Definitely a painful week. But look, if we can win today, then we can go on or get something out today, go beat Rangers. I think it'll please many, many fans. 2 games fans do not want to lose. Big, big week. But look, we've got to be... can't be naive. It's a big week. It's a big game today. You know, we've got to try and get some sort of result across the line. We can't keep going injuries, fatigue, stuff like that. You've got to show some level of resilience. But Alaskan Hotspur, I'd say where you live is absolutely beautiful this time of the year. So make sure you enjoy it. I can understand why someone wouldn't be, you know, unhappy living out there. You know, it's just white, you know, vast landscape. It's absolutely beautiful. Enjoy yourself out there, my man. Perfect time of the year to be living in somewhere like Alaska. I really appreciate you tuning in and the support. Member for 11 months, nearly a year. We're nearly there, Alaskan. Big yourself up, my man. Absolute legend. Right, lineups are out. Let's see what we're in for. So, in goalkeeper is Big Fraser Forrester.
What? No way.
At right back, it's Pedro Porro. At centre back, it is the return of Romero and Mickey
Van der Ven.
At left back, Basuma Sarr and Kulizeski through the middle with Johnson, Solanke and Son, which means James Madison drops to the bench. Radu Dragusin drops to the bench. Now, I'm sorry. It is the season they give in. You know, Tottenham are the Santa Claus. They have delivered Romero and Van der Ven back off the injury table for today's game. Now, I understand the excitement. Got to be an air caution. How fit are these guys? Well, we'll see from the off. Jack, take the bench away, and then we'll go around and get everyone's thoughts. But that lineup has given me an absolute stiffy.
Brandon Austin is on the bench. Jed Spence is there as well. Dragishin, Reguilon, Gray, Bergvall, Madison, Werner, and Lancashire. Reguilon makes the bench again. No Ben Davis, probably because he's injured, but Reguilon is probably the surprise addition still left there. But yeah, I mean, how did he pull that one off? And, you know, Ange, without saying a word, right? You know, that would be tempting. It's like, you know, hiding back a present or something from someone. You know, it's like hiding back a secret from somebody. The fact that he did not mention Mickey Van de Ven once in that press conference, I will say, very well done by Ange. Very well done. But like you say, Dave, how fit are they actually? Are they really, you know, capable of putting in their best versions of themselves? I guess we'll find out. But Ange has felt like he could trust them to put in a performance today. So fair play. And we'll see if it's worth it. And we'll see if it's I think it is worth the risk, to be honest. I think it's very much worth the risk because we're already going to be, we've already had to suffer without them as it is. But, you know, this is a huge relief.
Just quickly, I also question, you know, is it recognition that Ange realizes today's a massive games in terms of his future, and that's why maybe Arnie rushed back. Look, plenty of discussions, but Drew, we'll get your Dermot's thoughts on it, get your score predictions, and mine and Jack will save ours for the lineup. Now, just a quick reaction from the chat. Everyone's absolutely shell-shocked. You know, you're just seeing capitals WTF everywhere. You know, guys in the chat, let us know your feelings. Rush back or back just in time. Let us know. But Drew, take it away, sir.
You know what?
Drew Zilla, baby, let's go.
Do you know what? I don't think it is because he's shown in the past that he's prepared to hold players back if they're not ready. So if you take that into account, and then the fact that when VDV was initially out, they said he would be back after the international break, and it's been like people immediately assumed that was going to be right after the break. and he's had a couple of weeks. So do you know what? Given his history, I don't think you risk Van der Ven unless he's ready to go. So
Fair.
I think he's ready to go. And I think genuinely, I think the same with Romero, because otherwise you've got a perfectly fit Dragusin that could at least start the game. So
Fair.
I think he's gone strong because he can go strong.
Fair point.
I think if Bissouma and Sarr stay composed and they're on it today, and they let the front four do front four things, 3-1 Spurs. Come on, let's go.
Do you know what, lads? I'm just thinking, did Ange come out with all this fighting talk because he knew they'd be back and ready, coming out with swinging again?
Maybe. I do wish he would. I do wish he'd spend less time making real big points that he doesn't care what other people think. You know what I mean? Because I really wish he would kind of care what we think, because we're fans and this is our club. So when he comes out a little bit prickly and says stuff like that, it does kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit. But either way, whatever. I'm not going to bring us down. Let's go. We are 5 points, 5 points off of fifth. We've only played 14 games. Sean Butler, big up. I'm calling you out. Last night, you said top 4 was done. We've played 14 games. We're 5 points off, and we've got 69 points left to play. I'm not having it. We can. This season is still salvageable. Chat, if you believe the season's still salvageable, smash the like button. Irish Hotspur, let's fucking go. Excuse my language. I'm sorry.
He's letting out the real Drewzilla now. Absolutely love it. He's pumped, and I think many people have the same opinion heading into this game. It's really the morale boost we need. Hopefully they can step up and produce today. Belgian Hotspur says, David, it's an epic diamond cutter. That it definitely is. You're absolutely spot on. Dermo, get your thoughts on the lineup, my man. People are absolutely loving it, Drew. You're getting them pumped. Sean says he's here. He's listening, Drew. So
I just saw it.
Put your response in the chat. I'll bring it up and read it out. But you might even get a video dedicated to yourself after the game, Drew, if we don't win. But interested to hear what Shawnee has to say. Sean, why aren't you at the game today, my man? Come on. You got to get down to these games. Get yourself back out there, my man. Get yourself back out there. And look, good to see you still knocking around. And hopefully we can get that devil's advocate up and running again at some point when things alleviate. And he says, Drewzilla called me out, the audacity.
The audacity.
People well, my man. But Dermo, on to you, lad. And people are saying big up Sean as well. Dermo, on to you. What's your thoughts on the lineup and, your score prediction, lad?
Look, firstly, great to see Sean back in the chat. Great to see him back on YouTube. It's great to have him back. But look, I saw the lineup before you guys were doing the Dave was doing, and I started doing this, and I could see Drew looking at me thinking, has Dermo gone fucking crazy or something? I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I just had to look twice. I mean, I was pumped anyway for the game. You know me. Delusional Tron, always up for every game, always say Spurs are going to win. I don't need any more sugar, but I've been taking lots of sugar this morning, and I'm pumped for this game. We're going to batter them 3-0 now. That's it. We're not even going to give them a goal because we're that stingy. We're not. It's the month of giving. We're giving Chelsea F all because they don't deserve it. Go back to West London where their pants pulled down and they're crying into their mammy's chest saying we've been whipped and they're going to be whipped. We've got the Argentinian Bulldog and the Dutch masterclassman back in our back four. We're going to win today. Come on, you Spurs. I'm going for a 3-0 win. Come on, I'm so pumped now.
Love that, guys. We're also going to put Dermot's channel in the chat. Please get over and smash the subscribe button over there and show him support. Leave that up on screen, Jack. We'll just run through these quickly. And, guys, also give us your thoughts heading into the game as Romero and Van der Ven's inclusion. Maybe change your mind about what we can get out of this game. And also give us your score prediction. And we will see. We will be back here for the watch-along at 4 p.m. But we got Ryan in the house, member for 7 months. I don't care if we win, lose, or draw until Ange goes and Levy can walk out the door with Ange. Do you know what, Ryan? I think where the fallacy may be in that is to use a Sean word, actually. I heard him put out a stream yesterday, late last night, like 1 a.m. or something. I was listening to it and he used the word fallacy. I was like, great word. I think you really think if Ange Postecoglou goes that Levy's going out the door with him? I don't whatsoever. You're talking about billions of pounds. He ain't just going to go ring up the next investor and go, quickly take this off my hands. It's just not going to happen like that. And I said earlier on, I don't think he's ever going to sell. I think he looks at it as like his baby. You know, he's very proud of the work he's done there. When you look at the documentary about the stadium and all the effort that he's put in there, you know, all the effort that he's put in around the stadium, and all that's still to come. You know, my dad does Levy Land. You know, I just don't see it happening right now, to be quite frank. You know, regardless, he'll still be here when the next manager walks in the door. Best believe that right now. Definitely not going to happen. Got Donovan.
You know, there's a rumor. You know, the golden cock that sits atop the stadium.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually hollow, and it's a tomb. And Levy is basically going to be mummified and put inside the golden cock.
Oh my
It's
God.
not a rumor, Drew. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's
true.
is going to.
True story.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
They're thinking of putting Levy and Joe Lewis in the same tomb together as a double act.
All right,
A bit
enough.
like Morecambe and Wise.
Enough.
Right, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. We're not talking about the Undertaker here. We've got Donovan Oosterreicher, remember, for 26 months. Says, throw your caution out the window, lads. Run into the store to get some more toilet paper. And lads, I told you we're winning this. And is the man 4-1. Well, Donovan's absolutely lost the plot. No doubt he's going to get some, you know, energy drinks because he's off the beer, isn't he? Because I don't even know if he drinks. He's that shredded. He probably doesn't.
He's off the tissues.
Yeah, but you know, he's definitely absolutely excited. Donovan, see you back here for the watch along. Let's bloody go, my man. Absolute legend. We've got Boon Seng Lee, 12:30 a.m. kickoff here in Singapore. Absolutely love the dedication, my man. Welcome in Shawnee Maddox. He's gone to the pub to watch the game with the local supporters group with Shawnee. You have a great day out, buddy, and enjoy yourself. And hopefully you can get the win and you can be throwing beers on top of each other. We also have Moss Chops. He says, where the F did that lineup come from? I'm now expecting Bentacore to get away before this game.
It has come completely out of nowhere. It
You
really
know what?
has.
It wouldn't surprise me. You know, Richarlison all of a sudden appears on the bench. People like that, you know, why not? If we're doing the Harry Potter shit, Abracadabra Richie, why not, you know? But big up Moss Chops, definitely brilliant comment. And then we've also, I love it. All we need as Spurs fans is one little thing to give us belief, and we run away with it. I absolutely love it. That's what I love about football. And then we've got Georgie Hill, member for 3 months. Throw form out the window. Back our boys to the hill tonight. 3-1 battering of the West London scum tonight. Come on, Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army.
Love
Come
it,
on,
George.
you flat cap army. Look, I really do hope so, Georgie Hill. I think we still have to recognize, yes, we've got a better lineup than what we were expecting to put out there. Absolutely gives us a lot of confidence heading into this game, and we are capable of beating the big teams. Man City, Man United, Aston Villa, you know, we've played them all off the park, put up high scores against them. Chelsea are good, though. There's got to be that recognition. It's still going to be a tough game. What I would say is having that sort of lineup gives us a better chance to try and get something out of it. But Georgie Hill, who am I to tell you to stop running away with it? You know, if that's what you want to do, my man, feel free. I think there's many with you right now. They're all telling me, Dave, shut up, stop being a Debbie Downer. Well, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to absolutely everybody who has tuned in today. All you guys out there, it is not possible without you coming in, tuning in, giving your opinions, getting your questions in, and engaging with us. As great as these conversations is and the panelists is, you guys at home really add to it. So thank you very, very much. I also want to say thank you to the people that have gone the extra mile. Really means a lot. We have Wembley 1, Eltel Cockerell, Dark Sun G, Ryan Trestane, Wayne Bonner, Brecken, Belgian Hotspur, Moss Chops, MS7, Azad, RST, Thomas Owen, Faz Radford, Daniel Larson, Alaskan Hotspur, and Georgie Hill. Honestly, it's absolutely overwhelming, guys. Thank you so much. Really helps it. And look, it's good for every single channel out there. Everybody, you know, you look at Shawnee's, you look at Dermot's, anybody else's channel out there. No one has the big wigs behind them, you know, telling them to do this, do that, funding them, everything else. We all do this off our own merit, every single channel. So it's good to support them where you can. So we really appreciate it, especially, you know, in such a very tough month for everybody. So it really doesn't go unnoticed, and the gratitude is there. Lastly, I want to say a massive thank you to Drew for coming on, giving up his time nice and early out of bed. Absolutely brilliant on this show. People really enjoy you. So thank you very much, Drew. Lastly, I want to say a massive thank you to Dermotron as well. Every single week, just like Drew here, Really appreciate it. You know, gives up a lot to be able to do this. You know, Dermot's got, you know, a wife and a son there and everything else, and says, fuck them. It's Tottenham hour, baby. Tottenham 2 hours. Got to do it. So really appreciate that. Make sure you get over, check out THFC Till I Die. Jack has put the link in there a few times. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Let's make Dermot's dream come true. 2K before Christmas. There's 350 of you in-house. I think he needs like 20.
Away, Dave. 20 away. I'm only 20 away.
So, guys, come on. Let's keep the good omens going. We've got Mickey Van de Ven and Romero for Christmas. Let's make Dermot's Christmas dream come true. Get over there. Check out his channel. Lastly, as well, to Jacko, getting up nice and early to be here. What an absolute legend. Really appreciate that. But, guys, that's it from us. I'll see you back here in exactly half an hour's time for the big game, for the London Derby, for the annual Chelsea Flower Show. Mickey Van de Ven and Romero back, baby. It's set up for a mouth-watering game. We're at home. Let's bloody go. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
We trust. We never fucking stop. Come on.
Come on, you
Big
Spurs.
up, everyone.
Come on,
Smash the
Tottenham.
like. Smash the like.
Come
Big
on,
up.
you Spurs.